Hello everyone, here at osandvtxreviews.com. Now you're probably wondering why I have an iPhone 3G in my hands right now when the iPhone 3GS, the iPhone 4, 4S, and 5 are already on the market. Well, the reason is if you're really short of cash and you want to give someone who isn't really familiar with technology a first smartphone to go with, the iPhone 3G isn't extinct in terms of your possibilities and options. And that's because the iPhone 3G is right now one of the cheapest smartphones you can purchase online. On eBay right now, a working iPhone 3G, and that's an authentic iPhone at that, and used very good to excellent condition, is only going to run you under $60 for a 8 to 16 gigabyte model, and that's for a 3.5-inch capacitive touchscreen smartphone that runs iOS, and that's pretty impressive in my standards at least. So because it's so inexpensive and under $60 for a smartphone without a contract, that's pretty much unheard of. So if you are a last-minute shopper and you really are out of ideas and you are short of cash, then perhaps an iPhone 3G for this holiday season isn't that bad of an idea. So let's just take a look at this product, and we're going to revisit it and give you our retro review of it. So to start out, we're going to go with the hardware. Now in terms of hardware, this device is, again, it has that 3.5-inch capacitive touchscreen with multi-touch on it. On the top of the screen, you will see the speaker grill, and on the bottom is that infamous home button key that you can press in order to go back home. Now on the iPhone 3G, one of the downsides is the home button is a little bit more stiff than on the 4 series and the 5 series, so you're going to have to press down a little harder in terms of that. On the left-hand side, you do have a metal-ridged volume rocker that's tactile and easy to press, as well as a lock switch for the volume. And on top, you have a regular 3.5mm headphone jack, a SIM card slot. This is a full SIM card, not a micro SIM, which is good for world travelers, and as well as an on-off button. And then on the bottom, we have that standard 30-pin dock connector from Apple and a stereo speaker set that is much louder than the first generation. And on the back, we have that famous Apple logo. We have that camera, which is not that high resolution yet. This is a 2 megapixel, I believe. And also you have the iPhone information down below. So let's turn this device on and take a look at the hardware. So once you update everything, it's not going to be able to do anything. There is no front-facing camera. For basic features like web browsing for Safari, the App Store, all those features will be there, and they will be pretty easy to access. The touchscreen is extremely sensitive, and with a few updates right out of the box, you should be up and running. So with iTunes installed, you can definitely use this as a music player because it's an iPod, and you can play music, and you can play videos, shuffle songs, use the cover flow, and you're pretty well, it's pretty standard in terms of that. But let's just run you over some other features. This model in particular, of course, has Wi-Fi, in addition to having 3G, hence its name. It's not 4G though. So it's still pretty fast. Natively, it's going to run on AT&T, but since this device is no contract for under $60 on eBay, you can definitely unlock it with pretty easily and run it on T-Mobile if that's your thing. The home screen is, once you update it to the latest firmware, it will be able to have the spotlight search, so you can search through all the content either from the web or from your apps. So like if we say, if you want to press an A, you can see that all the things that are related to A will pop up in a second, and include our searches for our names as well as our contact information, our apps that have the A on them, and it's easy to use, it's pretty intuitive. And of course, our main screen is going to be composed of mail, the calendar, photos, the camera, and YouTube, maps, weather, notes, and iTunes. Now, once you update this device, it's going to allow you to create folders as well, which is a pretty cool feature. You basically hold your device down, and you can lay different apps on top of another, and then create these folders by dropping them through and then typing out the title for them. So it is a function that works on this device. If anything, this processor is a little bit sluggish because running the show is going to be a 600 megahertz processor, so you have to be wary of that. It's not going to be doing any multitasking. It's not going to be able to do the most intensive 3D games. In fact, a lot of the apps in the App Store is going to be limited. However, for all those popular games, for most games, to Angry Birds, to Traffic Rush, Paper Toss, all of those classic games are going to work. Just some of those newer ones are not. So if we turn off the lights for a moment, let's go and see this screen a little bit more clearer. Alright, so let's take a look at the user interface more specifically. Let's start with the mail. So the mail is very easy. It's a fairly normal client that you can work with. you have access to your inboxes and your outboxes, and you can send drafts. You can also send pictures and notes from your email directly on this device. It supports all mail clients, so you can go with Gmail or Yahoo Mail if you want to do that. It supports Microsoft Mail, so anything will work really in terms of mail, and it's quite easy to operate too with the screen. There's no lag on this. Yeah, pretty easy to use. You can use it over Wi-Fi or for 3G for updating your device. So for calendar, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into that too much. For photos, you basically have the ability to take a look at images, and if we take a look at the camera roll really fast, let me just show you a few images. So for example, if we have an image of a dog here, the image is of course rotatable, so if we use the accelerometer, it's fairly smooth and fairly fast. It's a 4-axis accelerometer, so it will work in all directions and relatively fast and speedy. Multitouch also works pretty well in this model too. You can just pinch a zoom, and it is still responsive with everything considered. And yeah, so with an image of an iPad case here, you can also pinch, and you should be able to see everything fairly clearly. The camera isn't the best in the world, but it works. Now, one noticeable feature that you'll be lacking if you get the iPhone 3G is the ability to record videos with the iPhone. But in the App Store, you can definitely download free video recorders. For example, iCamcorder is an app that is free in the App Store, and then you can launch it and record short clips using the camera. So although a camcorder is lacking natively, you can definitely add that feature on for free on the App Store, which is a great feature. You can press that record, and we are recording video. And frame rate is alright. It's not going to be anything extraordinary, and but you should be able to work with that. And you can play it, discard it, export it, and do whatever you want with it. So let's just discard this for now and go home. Another feature that you have right out of the box is YouTube. So if you're giving this as a gift, people who want to watch YouTube videos will be able to. You can search up any person. I have some of my videos loaded right now. A thing you will notice though, even if you're connected to a fast Wi-Fi connection, unfortunately this device is still going to have a few seconds to buffer the video, which means it's not going to be as instantaneous as you might expect in today's standards, but it works, and once it's working, it is working. So if we play one of my videos, because I don't want any copyright issues, it will automatically flip to this horizontal view, and you'll be greeted with the screen. It's going to automatically start off with it being paused, but after it buffers for a little while, you can press play, and the video will start playing with sound. Sound is very loud, it's very crisp, it's a great speaker system built in, which is also pretty good. So on the top you can also see your SIM card status, your Wi-Fi connection signal, and over here's your battery, here's your clock and time. So another feature is stocks. You can definitely check out your stocks with multiple stocks. You can scroll up and down the list. And on the bottom, you have access to your charts, so you can see a graph of your monthly views that you can scroll through. You can also scroll through the news for the stocks, which are specifically updated through Yahoo, and it's going to take a little while to update this information, but you can scroll left and right and see specific stocks and click on them for specific details, and see their charts and see their news. It's pretty easy to use. It's a fairly good interface as well. So let's go home. You can also set different things to do with tapping the home screen different times. For example, pressing it twice is going to automatically load the camera in my instance, and then you can shoot an image fairly fast. If I want to click on it, it's going to shoot it, and then I can see it down below by pressing this icon. Again, taking a few seconds to load instead of being as instantaneous as you might expect, but once it loads really well. Finally, you have maps on here. This iPhone 3G does have GPS in addition to, again, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and 3G. So it is able to find and track your location using GPS satellites. However, it doesn't have maps built in, so you do have to have a connection to a cellular data in order to really use the GPS feature. So it's not turn by turn, but if you buy a TomTom navigation suite, you will be able to do that. Again, in the Maps view, things are pretty fast and responsive, and Multitouch does work really well. You can also see Street View, which is overall a very enjoyable experience for navigation. You also have weather, so you can see your different weather statuses, and in rain, it's pretty standard. You also have notes. In utilities, right now I have a hidden clock, calendar, and voice memos. So you can record basic voice memos, and it tells you your decibels so you're not speaking too loudly. Again, the microphone chipset on most devices is really good, so sound quality is excellent. You also have a clock and a basic calendar that can switch from normal to scientific. So that's it for utilities. You have an iTunes built on here, an app store that you can launch and check out the latest apps. Again, not all apps will be compatible with this model in particular anymore, which is unfortunate. But again, most fun apps will be able to be played and be interacted with. So if we do top 25 Google services and updates, you will be able to do. So for example, of some apps that cannot be installed, especially ones for that Retina display and that GPU that needs to be fairly high and up there. If we use a free example, let's see. For example, if we do something like Fun Run, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but this would probably be an example of something that would not work because it's something new and in a top 25, so it's really relevant. As you can see right now, I don't have the highest connection to Wi-Fi, but still it's a lot more sluggish than what the 4th generation would be, but it definitely is still usable and workable. It's not terrible. Yeah, right now my signal is really low, so we'll check back on that in a few moments. But first, let's go through and check out a few other features. You also have contacts built in, which basically you can go through your different people that you know and then check their names and go through their lists and their contacts with a picture on the side if you want to do that. And on the bottom here, we have access in a row to Safari, Messages, and Phone. The phone is, of course, an infinite dialer that we can call using the keypad, and it's easy to use, simple to use. You also have favorites and voicemails. Messaging basically sends a text message to other people. The QWERTY keyboard, again, is multi-touch enabled on the screen, so it is easy to use if we want to type something really fast. Again, it's fun to use. Using an accelerometer allow you to switch the screen and then type this way, so it's easy to use in that manner as well. You can also set different languages too, so pressing the glow button in the settings will allow you to select different languages all around the world. So here's Chinese. It definitely has handwriting recognition, so for people who want to do that, it recognizes your handwriting and then inputs into a character. You can also do different ways to input text, so it has a lot of ways to input text on a very spacious keyboard. Overall, text entry is really fast as well. Next feature, the last feature before going back to the App Store, is going to be Safari in the web browser. Safari as a native web browser is a really impressive one. Unlike on a lot of other operating systems, the native web browser on this one is very, very good. However, again, Safari does not support Flash video, so you have to watch YouTube's using the native app. So you can't see any Flash content, but if you download some other web browsers, for example, if you go through the App Store and search, you should be able to find some that support Flash directly. There are quite a few actually now that you can go, but they do all cost additional costs, like $2 to download, and I'll show you that in a moment. But let's just say we want to go to Google, and we will load that page, and Google will hopefully, yes it will, come up. Go to accelerometer to rotate it, and again, pages take a little bit longer to load, but overall they are definitely doable. And right now it's loading a picture because it is the holiday season. So if we want to search something in Google, we can also use the Google search bar on the right hand side, and let's just say iPhone. And we go and search that. Go search iPhone 5. And it's going to search that, so hopefully it will load. Yes, it will. And it's going to give us all our search results. So still fairly easy to use, fairly simple. Pages load really nicely. You can also select to the full desktop view. Again, really impressed with the web browser as we have always been with iPhones. And it's just a great platform if you're someone who likes to spend a lot of time on the web to view content. So the iPhone 3G is still good at that. It's still relevant at showing content in a fairly fast manner. And again, here are a list of a few games that work for sure, because we have downloaded and tested a few calculators, calculus calculators, graphing calculators work with this, ebook readers, not the native Apple ebook reader, but some third-party ones work with this one. You have Lumosity Brain Trainer works with this, Google Translate Windblown, we have Paper Toss, us games. I'll just give you an example of how games work with the tilt sensor, accelerometer, and of course we have Traffic Rush and Poppy Jump. All of those work with this device flawlessly, and of course numerous others that I haven't really gotten the chance to go back and check yet, but they work fine. So as you can see, it takes a little bit longer to load, but it's still easy to use. Just press easy, and did it not recognize that? Or is it still loading? It's just loading. There we go. So the wind is going to the right, so let's flick over here a little bit. And oh, I missed on the first try. It's terrible. And I missed again. So let's try that one more time. And once again. Really am terrible at this. Well, that's the first one that I got. And I missed again. And I can keep on flicking according to the screen. So the screen is still fairly responsive and sensitive, even though it's not the newest out there anymore. It's still pretty good, and it does resist a lot of fingerprints and a lot of scratches. And for its age, there's not a lot of scratches on this. If you can find one that's used in condition on eBay, it still is a pretty nice gift. It's not going to show a lot of signs of use either. So lastly, let's try and jump back into the App Store to see if anything has changed or loaded. If not, we will basically get back into our conclusion of this review and retro look back at this product. Doesn't seem to have changed a lot. But in conclusion, the iPhone 3G, it still makes for a pretty decent gift, especially since it's really affordable now. And if you don't mind waiting a little bit longer for a lot of features to act physically load, if you just want to give this to someone, again, who is just starting out in the smartphone industry, for a friend or family, especially for an elder or for a younger child, then this will make for a great gift because you know, there's no contract tied to it. You can go with a pay-as-you-go plan and place in an AT&T SIM card, and it still works with all the modern necessities of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 3G, and GPS services. So it still is a very relevant smartphone, actually, for the price, and we were impressed at how low, again, the cost for this is right now on eBay. So overall, if you're interested in buying something like that in this holiday season, the iPhone 3G is a good solution. So thanks for watching your OS and VTX review.